Hello and welcome to another video by the Hoylett Computer Club. One sec, let's sort out this audio though, because I've got a feeling this audio is really going in and out and crazy in some of these videos. I do apologize. I'm upping the gain, so hopefully this makes it sound a bit better. Right, so what I wanted to do in this video was create a repository for our dog entity that we created. So let's jump right in and do that. Okay, so we've got the repo here that you'll be able to grab a hold of from our links. And we've got a load of stuff in here. We've got this entity that we created, the dog entity. Dog entity in our last video. So based on this, we want to make this into the ability so we can link it up and eventually hit some endpoints and actually manipulate the data in the table of dogs there. So to do this, we need a repositories sort of space here, something like a package. So let's create a new package. Repositories. Here we go. In here, I want a dog repository at this point. It's going to utilize the dog entity and stuff as well. We also need to use a DynamoDB mapper at this point as well. But for now, first, let's start with the idea that it's a repository. So I'm going to use a repository annotation to let Spring Boot know it's a repository. Now I want to use a Lombok annotation of auto-wired. Incidentally, if you don't know what auto-wired does, it kind of just instantiates an object for you under the hood and preps it ready to be used. So I don't have to start instantiating new mapper object and stuff. It does it for me. So I'll make a private DynamoDB mapper. For now, I'll just call it mapper. And now we need to import DynamoDB mapper. Now we can utilize this mapper. First, I want to make CRUD, so I want to make create, read, update, and delete functionality. You won't always want all of this functionality in every single one of your apps for every single entity, but it's good to know how to at least do a basic CRUD operation set up in a Spring Boot application. So let's jump on in making create. Now, this is a simple post operation if you was doing like web stuff. So first off, I want it to be public. I'm going to return a dog. So we're going to have to import the dog, possibly, yeah. Import the dog entity. I'm going to call it save. And it's going to take in a dog. And then we can save that dog. And we'd have to pass it to the mapper. So I'll put mapper.save and pass it to the dog. And at the end, we're just going to return the dog. That's it. We've now done the create operation in our repository. The read one, this will happen when you get like a get operation. Now, this will depend upon whether you're doing sort of get a single entity or get a list of them. So we want to do both. We want to be able to do like a get by ID or a find by ID. And we also want to do a grab all of the stuff or a find all sort of thing. So for this, I'm going to want to, for just the find by ID, I want to do public. And I want to return a dog entity. And it's going to be find by ID. I'm going to give it a string ID. All I need to return here is passing the mapper load. And I want it to be the dog shape. So dog.class. Tell it what sort of a shape we want to expect to return. And then we'll pass it the ID. Okay, so that's the entire find by ID. So that's grab singular item. Now, if we want to get a list of dogs back, we need to say, okay, public list of dog entity. Now we're going to have to import this list class. And now I'll just say find all. And in this one, we're going to return mapper.scan. So we're going to do a scan operation. Now we need to tell it the shape. So we'll say dog.class. And we also need to give it some sort of a scan expression. Luckily, to do a scan and grab all back is like the default operation for a scan. So what we can do is we can say new DynamoDB scan expression and not give it any options or anything. That's it. This in essence just says go grab all of the data from there. So that's our read. So we've done create, we've done read. Now we've got a couple of options. Well, we've got to do the update and the delete. Now they're both fairly similar. The delete's slightly less complex. So we'll jump into that first. Then we'll kind of talk about the update afterwards. So for delete, we're going to return a string because if we delete something, we can't return the object that doesn't exist anymore. So it'd be a bit silly. So public string delete string ID. So we can take in an ID. It's a little bit more complex than the other stuff, but not as complex as update. Again, they're not super complex anyway, so don't worry too much. So we need to have, basically we're going to do the find by ID pretty much. We could actually do this. We could say find by ID. And whatever that returns, we could then literally say, okay, I want dog equals this. That'd be one way around it. Or we could put the whole code in there. I'm going to do this for now, just because. So we've retrieved the dog. Now, because delete can't sort of, at least in the DynamoDB mapper, delete doesn't take an ID. It takes an object to delete. So you have to actually give it the object. So now I'm going to do a mapper.delete, passing it the dog. And then I'm going to return something like successfully deleted the dog with an ID of something. So I'll just put like plus ID here. So that will return just to say it's correctly deleted what we expected to delete. Now, there's a slight similarity here in the sense that, well, actually, no, there's probably no real similarity there, to be honest. You see complexity more than anything else. This just made it a little bit more complex. Now it's going to get a little bit more further complex than that. This is basically going to be a save operation. So it's a bit like a create operation here, but we need to add some sort of a save expression to explain how we want to save it. In other words, we want to kind of graft our data onto an existing record. So that's what we've kind of got to push across to the system. So we're going to do a mapper.save. Sorry, I'm explaining what we're doing. I haven't actually done the actual thing. So we're going to create a update method now. So let's do a public string update, taking in a string ID and also an object. So I need to take in a dog object of dog. One will be eventually the thing that you'd put in the address bar, the ID, and the other thing would be an actual request body sort of object. So now let's run the mapper.save, and we need to save the dog that we passed in. That's going to get grafted over the top of something. So now we need to make a new DynamoDB save expression. where we actually have to say it's expecting to get an ID, and then we need to have the attribute value passed in as the ID that's been passed in. So this is where a couple of little bits need to happen. So inside this, we need to say, okay, oh, not inside this one. Trying to break the code. So after this, we're going to do a dot with expected entry. Inside the expected entry, we need to go, okay, well, what is it that we want? We want an ID. But we now need to make a new expected attribute value. So new expected attribute value. In here, this actually needs a new attribute value. So new attribute value. And it needs to hold the ID. So with, and it's a string, so with S, and pass it the ID. Let's double check this. We've got 1, 2, those. We're missing a no, there's the last one. Just to save a bit of space, I'm going to put that there. Let's see if I missed anything. We're doing a save operation. It's got the dog. We made a new DynamoDB expression with expected entry, passed it the ID, new expected attribute value, with the new attribute value, with the string of ID, and then we've done that. Now I need to return a string, aren't we? So return successfully updated the dog with the ID. There we go. So a bit more complex, that one. I had to think a little bit about that. But basically, there's not a lot to it if you look at this. There's just these things. And the thing that's doing most of the work is this DynamoDB mapper under the hood for us. So that's it. We've done a create, read, update, and delete. Pardon me. And that's literally it. We'll probably in the next set we'll make either a controller or some sort of a service or something to utilize this. Again, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, like and subscribe if you like the video series. Also, if you want some other content, do feel free to let me know. Comment down on the bar down there. So the other thing I was thinking was, I've got an idea in my head as a roadmap for this, but do feel free to kind of nudge in a certain direction if there's something you want to go through. I mean, we're going to be doing testing and mocking at some point, but for now, I'm just going to try and build out a really simple CRUD application. I may put like a cats entity and then do a PostgreSQL server with a different set of data for cats, so that you've got the idea of that we can make a DynamoDB database and use it. We can use a PostgreSQL database and use that, and it's the same application. It doesn't matter that there's two different data sources, and you can put as many data sources you like really in any application. It means it gives you exposure to lots of different data sources and different ideas of how this could be built. So that being said, it's been awesome, and have a great day.